Most of the people that sign up for the free material from the Times Tables for You and the Page a Day Maths websites seem to have children more or less in years 4 or 5, although there's actually quite an age range involved. So there's a good probability that your youngsters are about this age too. Now, I'd guess that you are so focused on their achievement now that you're hardly thinking about the GCSE examinations they're going to be taking in year 11. But things are definitely changing at the top end, and these changes are going to affect your children very significantly. Firstly, when you did your GCSEs, coursework was probably allowed in mathematics, and the marking of it formed part of your final grade. But that has now gone. There is no coursework component in GCSE maths examinations anymore. Secondly, there were 2 sets of examinations that your school could choose to enter you for. The first were what are called linear syllabuses. That is, everything is examined at the end of year 11. The second were the modular syllabuses, in which youngsters were examined at intervals throughout years 10 and 11, and the final grade based on the aggregate marks of all those modules. Well, the modular courses are now being phased out too, and although we do not know when that's going to be just yet, it will certainly be before your children get to that age. Thirdly, GCSE results have been rising year on year for more than 20 years now, and the government is becoming increasingly concerned that the examinations are getting too easy. So Ofqual, the regulator of qualifications, examinations and assessments in England, is gathering evidence to see if this is in fact the case. And there may well be an increase in rigour and difficulty in the examinations in the coming years. In summary, by the time your youngsters sit their GCSE examinations, they could be based on final exams only with no coursework component and be harder than current papers. The problem is that most parents, and many primary school teachers come to that, don't know that these changes are on the way. And then there's also the question of the value of a GCSE grade. If you wish your son or daughter to go to university and you're going to have to pay a heavy whack in tuition fees running to many thousands of pounds, aren't you going to want them to go to one of the better universities that is well thought of in their chosen career? Or if they will be going straight into a career job such as banking when they leave school, won't you want them to have the very best start in that career? Of course you will, and one way to help with that aim is to ensure that your youngsters get the very best GCSE results they possibly can, especially in subjects like English, maths and science. But there are a few hurdles to jump before they get to that stage, and one of those is to ensure that they get into the best possible maths group for them when they get to their secondary schools. Most people believe that if a youngster suddenly starts to do well, they can easily be put up a group. Unfortunately, this is not the case, and the reason is that in order to keep group sizes within reasonable limits, if one student is moved up a group, it normally means that another has to move down. And if the people in the higher groups are doing well, that can be very difficult. I once worked in a high school where we tried to keep as many students in the upper groups as possible, and I had 36 students in my top maths group. That almost certainly would not happen today. Not only that, but the students in the higher groups have been, by definition, used to working at a higher level and a quicker pace. So a student who moves up a group has an awful lot of adjusting to do. How much better it would be if they were in the right group to start with. And that begs the question of how do secondary schools stream their youngsters? What criteria do they use? Well, the streaming is normally based on one of 2 factors. The first is the SAT result obtained in year 6, and the second is a test carried out during the first few months of the secondary school. Other factors are sometimes taken into account, but these are the 2 main ways. So if you want your children to be in the right groups from the start, what do they have to do? Well, the answer is now obvious, of course. They need to do well in their primary school so that they get good SAT grades or good marks in the tests that the secondary schools give them during their first few months there. Now, when you started to listen to this, I expect you were probably relaxed and quite calm. You might now be thinking a little differently and be more concerned about how well your son or daughter is going to do in their maths GCSE when the time comes. Wouldn't it be wonderful if there were a way they could sail gently from where they are now to that GCSE grade that they're going to need and want? Well, now there is. Page a Day Maths gives you one worksheet per day, 5 days a week, that is matched exactly to the syllabus they follow at school, so the work they do at home supports their teacher's work in the classroom. The idea is to constantly revise each topic in different contexts, so that they are always bang up to date with their learning. And each worksheet should only take a few minutes once they are accustomed to what is involved. But that's not all. Page a Day Maths also has a growing number of videos to explain concepts that children often find difficult. There are experiments you can carry out in your own maths lab, i.e. your kitchen. If you've not yet seen that video, please do so. You'll find the link on this page. And these are all great fun. There are also videos aimed at parents to explain why we do things the way we do and why some ideas are more important than perhaps you realised. And if you have a problem with your children's maths, you can email me at any time. I just love being challenged. The only rider I would add to that is that I don't pretend to be a special needs expert. So if your son or daughter is having severe problems with their mathematics, I would have to advise you in the first instance to talk to the special needs coordinator at their school. But apart from that, I'm happy to take questions about mathematics relating to mainstream youngsters of all ages up to GCSE level. So to subscribe to Page a Day, please go to www.pageadaymaths.com and click on the link. Click here for full subscription details. And here's my personal guarantee to you. Not only can you unsubscribe at any time, as there's no minimum subscription period with Page a Day, but if your youngsters have been working hard for about a year and they're showing no real signs of improvement, please just let me know and I will personally ensure that you receive back all the money that you have paid so far. I don't think I can say fairer than that, can I? So please start today to get your son or daughter on the right road to getting the GCSE grade that they're going to need by clicking on the link below and subscribing to Page a Day Maths. Thank you for listening.